Hey everybody, this is your Digital Super Saiyan 3 back here with another video. Welcome to the month of November for my November pay-per-view review. For the month of November, I chose to do WWE Survivor Series 2004. Took place on November 14th, 2004 in the Gund Arena in Cleveland, Ohio. The song for this show was Ugly by the X's. So it's been a while since I did a Survivor Series from the Ruthless Aggression era. This time it's 2004's turn. I've done 05 and I've done 02, so now I'm doing 2004. The Raw commentary team is consisted of Jerry the King Lawler and Jim Ross, while over on SmackDown you got Michael Cole and Taz. Our first match on the show is for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship. It's a fatal four-way as the champion, Spike Dudley, has to go it alone as he's defending against the likes of Billy Kidman, Chavo Guerrero, and Rey Mysterio. And this was a really good, solid way to start the show. Very fast-paced, what you would expect to see with cruiserweight matches. Like, since the cruiserweight division was exclusive to SmackDown, and not to mention this being elevated by the fact that three former WCW cruiserweight champions in the form of Mysterio, Kidman, and Chavo were in this match. And then you got the odd one out being Spike Dudley, who is an ECW alumni, and Spike, who never wrestled in WCW, and he's the WWE's Cruiserweight Champion. Spike ends up getting the victory on Chavo Guerrero. Nothing more to be said here, as Chavo is the one who eats the pin. But it was a really good, fun, fast-paced type of match. I don't really have much memory about Spike's reign as Cruiserweight Champion. Now we cut to backstage as Paul Heyman is psyching up Heidenreich for his match later on tonight against The Undertaker. And then Heidenreich runs into Snitsky backstage, and Heidenreich's like, "Snitsky, I love how you treat babies." And then Snitsky's like, "Heidenreich, I love your poetry." Yeah, so I guess they were doing some sort of bromance thing that they were doing, I guess. Yeah. Next up, we get a match for the Intercontinental Championship. It's a Raw match this time, as the champion, Sheldon Benjamin, defends against Christian with Tyson Tomko in Christian's corner. So yes, Tomko, if you don't remember Tomko, he was sort of brought in as Christian's bodyguard. He became like the third wheel during the feud between Christian and Chris Jericho all throughout 2004. And now, here's Benjamin and Christian going one-on-one. Now, you got a former Intercontinental Champion in Christian taking on the current Intercontinental Champion in Sheldon Benjamin. Everyone calls this the match of the night, and I can wholeheartedly agree. This was a great IC title match for the IC title. Sheldon Benjamin ends up hitting the T-bone suplex for the win, 1, 2, 3, and Sheldon retains the Intercontinental Championship. Now we come into our next match, or before we get into our next match, we get a backstage segment with Kurt Angle, Edge, and Eugene. Kurt Angle is talking to Edge, and about what happened at Taboo Tuesday, about how he got outvoted by a guy who could barely walk in Shawn Michaels. And Edge said, well, I put Shawn Michaels out to pasture. And Kurt Angle's like, well, I can make Shawn Michaels tap out instantly. It'd be that easy. And then Kurt Angle runs into Eugene, and Eugene gets all starstruck, saying, oh, you're Kurt Angle. And Kurt Angle's like, yeah. You're a former WWE champion, and you suck. And Kurt Angle's like, I don't suck. And then Kurt Angle goes out because he's got a match. As we get into our next match, it's a traditional Survivor Series match. As Kurt Angle's team, consisting of Kurt Angle, Luther Reigns, Mark Jindrak, and Carlito, with his bodyguard Jesus. Oh, and Carlito's the U.S. champion, because this is also following up the aftermath, the fact that Carlito is the U.S. champion. Yes, Carlito is the U.S. champion, if I forgot to mention. As they take on Team Guerrero, which is Eddie Guerrero's Survivor Series team, with Eddie Guerrero, John Cena, Rob Van Dam, and The Big Show. So all of Team Angle comes out together, and then you get Team Guerrero coming out. You got The Big Show coming out with a cast on his ankle. You got Rob Van Dam coming out. You have Eddie Guerrero coming out in his lowrider. Of course you would have Eddie Guerrero come out. And then the last one to come out is John Cena. And he makes a beeline for Carlito as he's wanting revenge on Carlito for stabbing him in a nightclub. So he's going right after the U.S. champion Carlito and his bodyguard Jesus. And Jesus, I gotta tell you, is probably one of the worst wrestling bodyguards I've ever seen. He gets easily overpowered by John Cena. And it causes Carlito and Jesus to run from the arena. They are running out of the Gund Arena as they steal a car right before the match could actually start. So Carlito didn't even get a chance to compete in the match because Carlito is gone. He had just fled the Gund Arena in a stolen car with Jesus. But John Cena comes back from the backstage area very quickly, and then we get into the Survivor Series match. It's a very solid matchup as it's like a 4-on-3 handicap Survivor Series style matchup, since we thought it was going to be a 4v4 match, but since the fourth guy on Team Angle had just left in Carlito, Angle's team gets picked apart very easily. The only member of Team Guerrero that got eliminated was Rob Van Dam. Angle is the last man on Team Angle. And he does try to put up a valiant effort. Angle tries to flee in defeat, but Rob Van Dam cuts off Angle's path. And Angle gets sent back into the ring where he got hit with an FU by John Cena. And then a frog splash by Eddie Guerrero, leading for the Big Show to get the 1-2-3, and then Team Guerrero is celebrating with the Big Show, Eddie Guerrero, and John Cena as the sole survivors of Team Guerrero. Now we're getting into our next segment backstage as Maven is being interviewed by Jonathan Coachman, because Maven is a part of Randy Orton's team later on tonight during their match against Team Triple H. Now, Coach is asking Maven this question, do you really think you belong here? And Maven's like, what is that supposed to mean, Coach? And then Maven is jumped by Snitsky. Gene Snitsky attacks Maven backstage, and he busts Maven open. So, yeah. Now, no one knows the condition of Maven and what's going to happen later on. But now we get into our next match, and boy, it's the worst match on this show, as The Undertaker defeats Heidenreich. Now, this came about after No Mercy, when Heidenreich cost The Undertaker the WWE Championship. during The Undertaker's last ride match against JBL, where you have to put your opponent in a hearse. And don't worry, I'll eventually get to No Mercy 2004 eventually. Eventually. I don't know when I'm going to review that one, but I'll review it someday. Anywho, back on topic, yeah, the match sucked. I mean, what else would you expect with Heidenreich? You're not going to expect a 5-star classic with Heidenreich, because Heidenreich sucks. Undertaker got the win, and that's all she wrote. Now we get into our next match, and it's for the WWE Women's Championship, as Lita would like to get her hands on the Women's Champion Trish Stratus. After months of psychological torture that Trish had done out to Lita. After the months of mind games that she had played, Lita finally gets her hands on Trish. After Lita had just lost her and Kane's baby. Yeah, this was during the whole pregnancy storyline that Lita was doing with Kane when she and Kane got married. Yeah, they had a kayfabe wedding. Anywho, the match barely went anywhere, because mostly it was just Lita beating down Trish, and the match ended in DQ because, of course, it did, because the referee couldn't get a hold of Lita. Lita broke Trish's nose on this show. Yeah, let me reiterate. Trish Stratus got her nose broken. And the back of her head is busted. Yeah, so Trish is bleeding. Yep. Now, we're getting into our next match, as it is for the WWE Championship, as the champion, JBL, would defend against Booker T. But before that, we had a backstage segment with Eric Bischoff being interviewed about the condition of Maven and whether or not Team Orton's going to have a replacement in time. And Bischoff, who is about to go on vacation, says, "Look, I can't find a replacement in time. The match is still on. If Maven can't compete, he can't compete. Besides, I don't want to deal with the headache that Triple H's team is going to give me if they complain that I find a replacement. And then I would have to deal with the board of directors in Stamford instead of going on vacation in Maui." So now we get into our WWE title match between JBL and Booker T. It was an okay match. JBL retained the WWE Championship. Nothing fancy. Josh Matthews and Orlando Jordan got involved, because you got Orlando Jordan, JBL's chief of staff, who was there at ringside, and then you got Josh Matthews going after Orlando Jordan. And JBL beat the hell out of Josh Matthews. And JBL ends up retaining the WWE Championship. The WWE Championship. Oh yeah, and the thing is, if JBL would have lost to Booker, he would have left SmackDown. No rematch. He would have been gone from SmackDown. So, there it was. And now we get into the real reason I wanted to do this show. The main event. Team Triple H versus Team Randy Orton. Where both teams fight for control of Raw for a few weeks while Eric Bischoff is on vacation. Yes, that's right. Eric Bischoff is going to be on vacation. Now, you got Team Triple H consisting of Batista, Edge, Gene Snitsky, and the World Heavyweight Champion Triple H, taking on Team Orton, consisting of Randy Orton, Chris Jericho, Chris Benoit, and Maven. Why was I about to say Edge? Edge is on Team Triple H. But yeah. So, it started off like the last match did, like the last Survivor Series match did, where a team was down 3-4, but Batista was the first to be taken out on Team Triple H. Then Chris Benoit was the first to be taken out on Team Orton, leaving it to be Jericho and Orton. But then Maven hobbles out from the back, all bloody, and, he manages to get the elimination on Gene Snitsky. Snitsky goes ballistic, and he starts striking everyone with steel chair shots. He struck Maven, and Triple H got the pin on Maven. Maven is eliminated, and now it's left down to 2 apiece, as you got Edge and Triple H left for Team Triple H, and you got Randy Orton and Chris Jericho left for Team Orton. Edge spears Jericho out of his boots and ends up hitting Jericho, taking out Jericho, leaving Orton all alone against Triple H and Edge. But through sheer determination and incredible odds, Randy Orton defeats both Edge and Triple H, leading to Randy Orton being the sole survivor of his Survivor Series team match. And that was Survivor Series 2004. Final thoughts? Well, I thought it was a solid show. I wouldn't say Survivor Series 04 is one of my all-time favorites, but it's there. Anyway, stick around in December when I review In Your House Seasons Beatings. Until next time, see ya.